Top 10 Canadian Universities. How to make your pick. Canada takes pride in its growing reputation as the best place to study abroad, providing excellent quality of educational programs that matches world's university giants like Oxford or Stanford, a welcoming and a tolerant community, and safe student environment. It isn't surprising that international students are hurling to enroll in top-ranked Canadian universities. The staggering 92% increase in the number of international students over the last decade is not only due to the superb choice of undergraduate and advanced-level postgraduate study programs, but it also has merit in the rich city diversity of Canada and even better offerings for outdoor activities. Enrolling in a reputable Canadian university improves your job prospects. If you choose to study in one of the Canadian provinces, you not only get the chance to enjoy the real-life postcard Canada, but also improve your prospects to get a job from a Canadian employer or another employer in an English-speaking country. The presence of international students is impressive. Newly created jobs serve as a sort of guarantee for your study investment. Although top Canadian universities are not as expensive as their UK or their US counterparts, international students still need to pay way more than the domestic candidates. Tuition fees are easier to manage when you think of them as job generators. Engineering and business, as well as the natural and social sciences, are popular study alternatives for international students in Canada. These study fields are also widely believed for raising your job odds, so benefits are mutual. Region, Canada. Average tuition cost for Canadian students, $6,907 Canadian dollars. Average tuition for international students, $16,252 Canadian dollars. Alberta. Average tuition for Canadian students, $5,655 Canadian dollars. Average tuition for international students, $11,703 Canadian dollars. British Columbia. Average tuition for Canadian students, $8,313 Canadian dollars. Average tuition for international students, $15,673 Canadian dollars. Manitoba. Average tuition for Canadian students, $4,712 Canadian dollars. Average tuition for international students, $10,280 Canadian dollars. New Brunswick. Average tuition for Canadian students, $6,069 Canadian dollars. Average tuition for international students, $11,314 Canadian dollars. Newfoundland and Labrador. Average tuition for Canadian students, $2,752 Canadian dollars. Average tuition for international students, $3,174 Canadian dollars. Nova Scotia. Average tuition for Canadian students, $8,856 Canadian dollars. Average tuition for international students, $18,255 Canadian dollars. Ontario. Average tuition for Canadian students, $9,918 Canadian dollars. Average tuition for international students, $22,217 Canadian dollars. Prince Edward Island. Average tuition for Canadian students, $5,260 Canadian dollars. Average tuition for international students, $11,602 Canadian dollars. Quebec. Average tuition for Canadian students, $2,979 Canadian dollars. Average tuition for international students, $14,907 Canadian dollars. Saskatchewan. Average tuition fee for Canadian students, $3,942 Canadian dollars. Average tuition for international students, $5,918 Canadian dollars. Average tuition fees for international students across Canadian provinces in 2017-2018. Canadian universities rank higher on global lists. Prestigious ranking institutions place several Canadian universities among the top 50 in the world, when you think that the top 10 competitors include Oxford, Harvard, and California Tech Institute, and include runners-up from the growing Chinese higher education sector, having 3 or 4 among the best 50 out of 1,000 is an admirable number. The list includes the University of British Columbia at position 34 and the McGill University at position 42. It's obvious that 2018 will put yet another plus on the side of top Canadian universities. Navigate the Canadian tuition fees maze. Certainly study costs will be one of the factors you will not overlook when you choose your university preference. The rise of the average tuition fee of about 5 to 6% in the last year for graduate and for undergraduate international students is another proof of the exceptional value of Canadian colleges and course programs. As more and more people are getting their degrees in Canada, faculties are improving, and despite the tough competition, international applicants are spoiled for choices. When you're budgeting your Canadian education costs, make sure to add costs for housing, academic materials, living expenses, transportation, and insurance. For example, there is a difference in the cost of living if you choose to study in one of the cosmopolitan universities, such as the ones in Toronto and Vancouver, or if you opt for a college in Nova Scotia. Monthly apartment rent off-campus can range from between $500 to $1,500 Canadian dollars, depending on where you live. On-campus housing alternatives will save you travel money, and on the bonus side, provide options for working while you study. Multiple scholarship opportunities are for sure of great help, and many universities attract international students by offering various scholarships. Have your budget priorities set. What else is there to consider? If you fail to do your research on the top universities by your essential criteria, you may miss out on the best possible experience. Openness to international students is part of Canadian culture. Some towns are more dynamic, while others have a less urban feel. Have that in mind when you're thinking about going for the cheapest option. These top 10 international student-friendly Canadian universities will offer a rich social life and plenty of options to try out the life of a Canadian while you study there as an international student. Top 10 Canadian universities for international students for 2018. 10. University of Manitoba, Winnipeg, Manitoba. The largest and oldest university in Manitoba offers over 90 courses to international students, including preparatory programs and distance learning. The central prairie location provides many explorative opportunities. Its low point is the distance from everywhere else in Canada. However, studying in Manitoba may be your only chance in life to see rare species such as polar bears and beluga whales. 9. York University, Toronto, Ontario. If the costs associated with tuition fees and the central location of the University of Toronto are over your budget limit, consider applying to York University in northern Toronto. It's just behind UOT in size, and its diverse courses can accommodate almost any chosen subject. If you want to attend York, you must calculate for the time and costs associated with getting from the northwest Toronto to wherever you choose to live, such as downtown Toronto. However, York has a fine residential capacity for its students, and the size of the campus can compensate for the lack of urban attractions. York University has an enticing study program, including novel cross-disciplinary degrees such as integrated science, disaster management, and globalization of indigenous peoples. 8. University of Waterloo, Waterloo, Ontario. If you're thinking about enlisting in an innovative post-secondary program, the University of Waterloo, located 90 minutes from Toronto, is just what you need. Student entrepreneurs can engage with after-school activities in Velocity Garage, a free startup incubator, and grow as businessmen along with taking exams. Advanced tech and interdisciplinary courses such as knowledge integration, nanotechnology engineering, and remote piloting lay a fertile ground for developing a business idea that you can launch after you graduate. 7. Simon Fraser University, Burnaby, British Columbia. Simon Fraser University provides stunning mountain views to take your eyes off the books when you complete your course lessons. Simon Fraser University is a new favourite for internationals, topping the ranks this year by the student reputation. The great thing about the 3 campuses located in Burnaby, Surrey and Vancouver is that they have established a social scene for students, with strong bonds to the local community. The wide scope of academic classes ranging from advanced environmental programs to business design and mechatronics makes it inclusive to all types of scholars. If you enjoy cool courses with an exuberant social life, Simon Fraser might be your choice. Simon Fraser is about 30 minutes by car or an hour by bus from downtown Vancouver. 6. University of Alberta, Edmonton, Alberta. Some say that the cold weather is the lowest point of your Canadian studies, and though Edmonton is pretty far north, many don't consider it as scary weather-wise as some cities. The rates for grad students are a factor that make you forget about the living costs. The excellent research reputation can compensate for the harsh winters. The city's sleek ambience, the wide range of student support services, and the world-famous shopping mall are welcoming students from almost 150 countries who come to study at the University of Alberta. 5. University of Calgary, Calgary, Alberta. Apart from over 100 study programs, if you want to build not only your academic skills but also your athletic prowess, the University of Calgary is a top pick as it's located in one of the world's best and cleanest cities to live. With an average of 333 sunny days per year, it's in contrast to the stark Canadian weather everywhere else. Calgary has all essential aspects of Canadian hospitality, diversity, and a multicultural openness. The amazing ski slopes 2 hours away are just a bonus. 4. University of New Brunswick, Fredericton and St. John, New Brunswick. Canadian medical and law schools top among the favourites for international students. The New Brunswick University will definitely suffice for the pickiest future medical doctors and lawyers, while the 75 other courses available at Fredericton and St. John campuses make the University of New Brunswick one of the best options if you're on a budget, particularly if you find a bargain in accommodation. The study curricula comprises attractive programs related to human and satellite intelligence, as well as courses in global web activism. 3. McGill University, Montreal, Quebec. There are 2 main reasons you wouldn't want to miss McGill University, especially if you speak French. The first reason includes the affordable tuition rates for international students, which are $14,618 Canadian dollars for undergraduate and $12,550 Canadian dollars for graduate tuition and fees. If you are lucky enough to be a French citizen, you can qualify for extra affordable rates on the level of Quebec residents. Tuition savings aside, you will not have enough hours in the day to enjoy Montreal's European vibes. If you don't dig into the bountiful festivals on offer, including the largest comedy festival in Canada, you just might spend the extra saving on theatres, music, and visual arts. 2. University of Toronto, Toronto, Ontario. Toronto is the picture of Canadian multiculturalism, and one of the deciding factors for over 15,000 students per year to choose it as a preference. The tuition fees and cost of living are not exactly cheap though, and if you have a generous study budget at your disposal, you will enjoy one of the most vibrant international student communities in Canada, located in the core of Canada's largest and most multicultural cities. The world-famous University of Toronto is great for culture fans, with many world-class attractions, including the Toronto Film Festival, which is one of the top 3 film festivals in the world. 1. University of British Columbia, Vancouver, British Columbia. Sometimes it pays off to pay higher tuition fees to get lively panoramas, a choice of smaller and larger campuses, as well as access to some of the best research grants in the world. Inasmuch as Vancouver gets higher and higher on the list of world's most expensive cities, the picturesque surroundings of Vancouver are not only populating world travel magazines, but also luring in newcomers to settle. All the best open-air experiences in Canada are in the Vancouver area, so if you're thinking long-term and want to stay in Canada after you complete your studies, the University of British Columbia is a smart choice.